ABC News.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Wow, can you believe it? Here we are.
We are back again.
Show number 3. It's the Hometown Hour.
It is the Hometown Hour, and I feel like Justin queued up the whole seeing flames is a scary situation for us today. Just spot on to match our special guest that we have with us.
We do have a special guest. Looking forward to getting to interview our special guest a little bit later in the show.
Well, welcome to our third week, Mayor.
Third week,
So
here we
glad
are.
to be back.
It comes around quickly, doesn't it?
It does come around very quickly.
Well, I just want to commend you for putting together the Hometown Hour layout so that we really can follow a little bit more of a script. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. It certainly helps us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Recapping a little bit of last week's show for all of our listeners who tuned in. And if you're new to us this week, welcome. We're glad to have you. Tune in every Tuesday at 11 to hear myself and the mayor and some special guests from Mooresville talking. But recapping last week's show, Brawley School Road. Back open.
Yay.
All those updates are complete. The road project is finished, or the force main project is finished. There is some final touch-ups to do. We have to go in and replant the center median, as Allison last week mentioned.
Yep.
Don't want to be planting trees and
Not in the middle of summer
not in the
like
middle
this.
of summer.
95-degree weather.
Not a great idea. I can
Nope.
tell you from experience, the grass that I tried to plant in my front yard is dead.
Yep.
So that will be addressed later this fall when weather is more cooperative. But all lanes of Brawley School Road back open, and we are so excited that that project went well.
It did
and
go
it went
well.
speedily, and we appreciate everyone's patience who had to drive in that area while it was under construction.
Yeah, we sure do. Well, listen, did you introduce yourself to our listeners?
I don't guess that I did. Megan Super, Director of Communications and Marketing with the Town of Mooresville. So happy to be here.
Megan, we're so glad to have you here. And I'm Miles Atkins, Mayor with the town. And hey, we always want to say one good thing that happened. I have some really good news to share.
Lay it on me.
So, we have our police chief, Ron Camperchani. He joined us in 2019.
And I appreciate you saying his last name correctly.
Camperchani.
So many people butcher it.
Yes, they do. But he is a delightful man, and he is our police chief. I'm very proud to call him our police chief. Anyway, Chief Camperchani was recognized by the North Carolina Police Executives Association, and he received the Keith Bulla Police Executive of the Year Award. Pretty impressive for being in here less than 4 years.
Absolutely. And being nominated by your peers for that type of award, that it really says something when the people that you work with who understand your field give you that type of honor. And also your department nominates you for that type of honor.
That's right.
It really is amazing. And I had the chance to listen to his acceptance speech. His daughter Meadow went with him to
that's cool.
receive the award. Yes, I joked that it was his hot date. And I had the chance to listen to his acceptance speech that she videoed, and it was just so great. He is such a wonderful influence on our department, on our community, and so humble about the amazing things that he has accomplished throughout his career and throughout his short time with the Town of Mooresville. So congratulations, Chief.
35 years of law enforcement service, and we're so thankful that he's calls Mooresville home.
Absolutely. Well, my one good thing is that we aired our public operations video last week. Don't know if you've had a chance to see it or not, but that was an effort, a huge group effort, massive group effort, a lot of moving parts to make this video happen. And we turned it around very quickly, filmed in June, got the final video at the first part of July, and finally aired it last week on social media. And Ryan Rice, our assistant town manager over the public operations area, said he went in and counted, and we hit 36 employees in just over 4 minutes.
Wow.
That we were able to highlight.
Well, I did watch that video, and I got to tell you, it just oozed pride, integrity, and commitment by our employees. And it just really made me feel proud of what the commitment that our employees have to the citizens of Mooresville, and they really take so much pride in their work and really provide an exceptional customer service.
They truly do. And I was chatting with Justin about that earlier this morning. And, my one takeaway from that video is just the absolute pride that all employees have in what they do, the service that they provide to the community, and how they give back to the community that they live in. I think one of the interviewees in the video mentioned that he enjoyed seeing projects from start to finish and having that concept and then seeing it come to fruition and taking his kids or whoever to play on the park facilities, to attend the events, to go to the facilities that he helped build and create. And how amazing is that to have a part in that legacy?
That's right. I mean, it's all about, making community building and placemaking, and our town employees just do a fabulous job.
They truly do. And if you're interested in learning more about how you can become a part of a place that is just filled with pride and integrity and commitment to its community, its residents and visitors, we have plenty of job opportunities with the Town of Mooresville. You can find all of those at mooresvillenc.gov/HR. There are opportunities ranging from public operations work, which is engineering, kind of as we discussed last week, water resources through our water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, stormwater. There are opportunities with streets and fleet. There are opportunities with the fire department, opportunities with the police department, the library, parks and recreation, working in town hall with administration. There is all kinds of opportunities out there, and new ones being added every day.
That's what's so fun when we get to speak with students at the high school or middle school and talk to them about career opportunities. Always tell them about there's so much happening in municipal government and the opportunities to grow and for a career in local government, because there are so many departments, you never think about it.
That's truly how it is. Even working in local government, there are so many highly skilled individuals and very passionate individuals that are crucial to the mission of town, crucial to keeping the town functioning. And those are not things that you automatically think of when you think of local government.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really gets folks committed to working for the town is they know that they're making a difference. And I think the job satisfaction of knowing that you are making a difference in the community where you work and live, that's very satisfying.
It is. So mooresvillenc.gov/HR for all of those opportunities. And if you're just interested in maybe finding a volunteer opportunity, you can also find those at mooresvillenc.gov/HR. So speaking of making a difference, one thing that makes a difference in our community is ensuring public safety, and the fire department and the police department do a great job of that. And as a part of their efforts, we have free car seat checks coming up. So the first one of those is going to be August 16th, 3 to 5 p.m. at Mooresville Fire Rescue Station 1, and that's on Main Street.
Right next to Town Hall.
Right next to Town Hall. I know you know the address, Mayor, but in case people don't, it is 457 North Main Street. Come by. This is totally free. The fire department and the police department staff will be on hand to ensure your car seat is safely installed. And if you can't make this one, we also have multiples coming up through the remainder of the year. We've got September 13th, October 11th, November 8th, and December 6th, and they're going to bounce around to all the different fire stations. And then we also have upcoming opportunities in 2024 as well. So great free community resource to make sure your car seat is installed correctly. I know that can be tricky.
They are tricky at times. I've had a hard time at trying to get those in and out of a car.
Trying to get them in and out of the car, trying to get them latched, trying to get them unlatched. Like, are you harnessing it right? This is slipping around. So if you have a child, grandchild, anyone who uses a car seat of any type, absolutely feel free to come out to those opportunities to make sure that they are staying safe and secure, because it's precious cargo.
Yes, they are.
So coming up, we have our special guest we're going to introduce, who is a part of the fire department as well. Excited to introduce him.
Looking forward to it, Megan. Thank you.
Stay up to date with the latest in your community, state, and nation. WSIC News Talk Now.
I'm Holly Vale with your WSIC forecast. Well, sunny skies today with a high near 91 degrees. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 68. Wednesday looks sunny again with a high near 93. And mostly clear for Wednesday night with a low around 72. We'll have sunny skies for Thursday with a high near 94. And Thursday night looks mostly clear with a low around 72. I'm Holly Vale from WSIC's Weather Center.
Hey, Justin Kazepis, future owner of WSIC. So we had a little bit of a plumbing situation going on at the WSIC studios, and we called Hall's Plumbing out of Statesville, and man, were they fantastic. They showed up on time. They got the job done quickly for us because we all got to go. And when you all got to go, call Hall's Plumbing because they know how to get it done. They were fast. They were reliable. Very friendly service. Visit them online, hallsplumbingnc.com.
If it touches your family, your schools, your city, or your safety, News Talk WSIC has it covered.
Rug Ferry Road near the intersection at Hollywood Drive will be closed while...
News Talk WSIC.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa"?
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms
I'll tee it up and turn it to Megan.
Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Black Powder Coffee is celebrating their 10th anniversary with a medium dark roast blend of Indonesian and South American coffee beans. Enjoy the full-bodied natural flavor notes of chocolate with a bright finish. Get Black Powder Coffee's new anniversary blend today at Black Powder Coffee, 261 Rolling Hill Road, Mooresville, or participating retailers everywhere. Black Powder Coffee.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Well, Megan, I think we're back with the Hometown Hour. So glad to be back on the air with you again on every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We're getting together and having some good times. And, hey, you know, we are going to take call-ins, right?
Oh, yes,
so
absolutely.
All you got to do is call 844-STUDIO-4, and we'd love to hear from you. So tell us about our special guest that's joining us this morning.
Well, our special guest can tell us if it is scary seeing flames or not. We have with us today Jason Workman, who is the fire marshal for Mooresville Fire Rescue. Welcome.
Welcome,
Good
Jason.
morning. Thank y'all for having me.
And now, I know everybody knows you as Jason Workman or Fire Marshal Workman, as people were calling you earlier today, but you also have a special nickname.
I do go by Woody.
Woody.
A lot of people like to call me Woody or Fire Marshal Woody, or it's a nickname that came about my first day.
Tell us about it.
So when I first got hired at Mooresville Fire,
which was when?
And my first day actually was July 9th of 2002. So I just celebrated an anniversary a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
But when I walked in, you know, I weighed 128 pounds, which is, in today's fire service, is probably a little rare because most of everybody is muscular, bulky, and but back then, you know, a lot of guys were hired 20, 30 years ago, so it was very difficult to get hired in the fire department, especially at such a young age. And so I was one of the fortunate ones. I came in, I didn't weigh a whole lot, and one of the guys said, "Man, if you put a cowboy hat on, you'd look just like Woody off a Toy Story."
And it stuck with you.
It pretty much stuck for the last 21 years. So.
Well, that's awesome. We're so glad that you're here today. We're so glad that you have a fun nickname and fun personality and willing to use that nickname, because I've seen some things out and about Fire Marshal Woody.
That is correct. And we're excited to get that kicked off. About a month ago or so, we've been working on this for a lot longer, but we kicked off the Fire Marshal Woody program, which is going to entail a lot of community safety related topics that we're going to be getting out on social media platforms. And it's also going to incorporate, parents, families, and children getting more involved with not just fire safety, but, general safety as well. So we got some programs coming up, interactions, and that will be getting posted on social media for the kids and families and parents to all take a part in to potentially get some free giveaways that we're going to be doing here pretty soon.
Everybody likes free giveaways.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the education aspect of Fire Marshal's office, but tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit more about how you got to be the Fire Marshal for the town of Mooresville. How did that happen in 21 years?
Well, it was a long, dark, rough road.
There was a lot of flames involved.
A lot of flames. It's kind of interesting because, and I like referring back to this, and one of our Commissioner Compton was the fire marshal years ago. I told him, one day
I want your job.
I want your job. and of course, little kids and stuff, they like to talk. They really don't know what they want to do. But from day one, when I decided this is what I wanted to do for a career, I made the decision early on that that's where I want to be. And I'll never forget the day during my interview. It was former Fire Chief Wes Green, Commissioner Compton, and I think it was Jackie Moore that was in our HR department at the time. And one of the questions that they asked was, where do you see yourself in 30 years? And I pointed at Bobby, and I pointed at Commissioner Compton, and I said, sitting behind his desk as fire marshal. And that was in June of 2002. And in August of last year, I finally achieved my goal and was selected as fire marshal for the town of Mooresville.
That's awesome. And you did it in 2/3 of the time, too.
2/3 of the time.
If they told you 30 years, you did it in 20.
Yeah. So I think I kind of missed a little thing with my background. A lot of people don't know this, but I am one of the chosen few that was born and raised here in the town of Mooresville. And I know that's extremely hard to believe sometimes, especially with the growth and everything we got going on in the town, but I am one of the few that has experienced this town grow from farmlands to 150 being a 2-lane road, and horse farms and cattle farms all the way down 150, and a lot's changed over the last 20-30 years.
A lot has changed. Absolutely.
Yep.
How does it feel to give back to the community where you were born and raised?
When I wanted to do this, I really didn't comprehend what it was truly going to entail. And it wasn't until, probably as I got older and started maturing a lot more, the true effects that it can have on people's lives. And it makes me sleep better at night knowing that not only myself, but the other firemen, other police officers, and even paramedics, that the things we do each and every day and the calls that we respond to, whether they're bad calls or even good calls, that we are making a difference in somebody's life. We always talk about when somebody calls 911, we're responding to potentially one of the worst days of their life. And we've got to try to, cradle that as much as possible and try to make it a little bit better for them during that time.
Absolutely. And not only do the technical side of your job, but also handle the individuals involved with compassion.
Absolutely.
With
Yep.
the respect that they need and deserve, and handle them just like you would want someone else to do the same if it was your family members involved.
Yep, absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about what the fire marshal's office is. I know it's a part of Mooresville Fire and Rescue, but is it the same thing? Is it different? Are you out there fighting the fires?
Well, it depends. I don't want to say we don't fight fire. Everybody in the fire marshal's office has qualifications to still fight fire. The only difference is some of us may not have be certified medically trained, such as an EMT certification or something like that. I think currently right now there's, well, I think all but one right now is an EMT. So we're just like a fireman on a truck. The only difference is we got daily responsibilities that we have to do outside of responding to calls. Now, we do respond to calls as well. You know, a lot of times we may respond to specific calls to address, you know, certain issues such as fire alarm issues, sprinkler issues, or we may even be first on the scene of a traffic accident. We are the one-stop shop, as I like to call it. So we always joke around with the guys on the truck. We can and tell them, we can always do your job, but you can't do our job yet.
Oh, that's fair.
So
that is fair.
And just based on, you know, what we have to do day to day and what's required of us at the state level, it just makes us a little bit more valuable.
Well, if I can just jump in here, you know, you talked about being first on the scene, and you know, you have fire and rescue in the title of the department, and talking about state requirements, but we're number one in the state with an ISO rating. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
And how do we get
ISO 1.
ISO? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So part of the ISO accreditation also involves prevention and education. So our office, the fire marshal's office, has a lot of responsibility when it comes to trying to obtain that one, or just a lower rating in general, such as water distribution for fire protection, inspections, educational programs. We have to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to and make sure everything's up to standard with the growth, with the density of the population, and to make sure that the appropriate programs are being presented and people are being educated. And if not, that does have a drastic effect on your insurance rating, your fire insurance rating.
Yeah, so the ISO, tell me what that stands for in case our listeners don't know.
Oh, you're right, man, you catch me at the wrong time. I can't even remember that acronym.
But it's a fire accreditation.
Yeah, it's basically the Department of Insurance, Office of State Fire Marshal, has a set standards, minimum standards for fire departments, and their insurance rating is based on their score.
Sure.
And that can range from equipment on the truck, like I said, stuff that may involve the fire marshal's office, equipment, fire station distribution, and response times.
Talk about response time real quick.
So right now, the fire department has a set standard of 4 minutes from the time of dispatch. Our goal is to be on that truck in responding and at your house or location of the incident within a 4-minute response time.
Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy.
That is
time.
amazing. And I know from the perspective of the people waiting for you to arrive, that 4 minutes can seem like an eternity.
It is.
But 4 minutes is a very quick time to get where you need to be. And that's a great standard to achieve. And that ISO 1 rating, that's the highest we can get? The highest we can go?
That's the highest you can get. That's the best of the best right there.
Amazing. Well, we'll chat a little bit more with Fire Marshal Woody about what the Fire Marshal's office does, more about fire and rescue here in just a few minutes. But this is all great information for our listeners. Thank you so much for being with us, Woody, to help tell us more about fire.
I'm excited to be here and excited to do it.
Local news and weather now on the new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. News Talk Now.
I'm Mike Mike Jackson, WSIC News. The Iredell County Community Foundation recently awarded $185,500 in grants to 27 nonprofits. The grants will support projects and programs that address learning loss, veterans affairs, human services, and more in Iredell County. Grants from this cycle include $10,000 to Veterans Bridge Home to coordinate care for Iredell County veterans. And Wake County deputies said yesterday they have arrested a man who left the courthouse and removed his ankle monitoring device. Rakeem Brown left while his trial was in recess. He was arrested Friday, a little over 24 hours later in Fayetteville, according to the sheriff's office. Deputies said Brown violated his pretrial release and is currently in the custody of the sheriff's office under no bond. Now, sports with Joe Berg.
More lawsuits were filed against Northwestern yesterday. One of them, a volleyball player, and the other one, former quarterback and wide receiver Lloyd Yates. Yates became the first named person to file one of the lawsuits.
WSIC weather, clear and sunny today with a high of 92, mainly clear tonight, the low 68. Sunshine returns tomorrow with a high of 94. Mike Jackson, WSIC News.
Hi, this is Mark Walters. Join me on Armed American Radio as I take a stand for Second Amendment rights. That's Sundays from 8 until 11. I will be on your radio fighting for freedom right here on News Talk 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, we're back to Hometown Hour with Megan and Miles, and we have a really special guest with us. Megan, you're doing a great job with this interview.
Oh, thank you so much. I think it's great when we have good interview candidates like ours today. Fire Marshal Jason Workman, also known as Fire Marshal Woody, with the Town of Mooresville. Welcome back, Fire Marshal Woody.
Thank you, thank you.
So you were talking, as we went to break, about the ISO 1 rating and how quickly our fire department has to respond to calls. And you said 4 minutes from the time the call comes in?
That is our goal.
Now, is there any difference of like daytime, nighttime, anything like that? All 4 minutes?
So at night, there is a little bit, I think it's 30 seconds. They get an extra 30 seconds at night to get out of bed. But typically during the day, like today, like right now, if a call comes out, they've got 60 seconds to be on that truck and be responding. And at night,
they do it
it's
too.
a minute and 30 seconds.
They absolutely do it because...
And it's still calculate. I mean, it's no different. 4 minutes and 4.5 minutes is still the standard that we strive to meet each and every time.
And that's amazing because that is so quick. I don't feel like I can do anything or get anywhere in 4 minutes. And the fact that
I can't even get out of bed nowadays that quick.
But no, it is. I can hear the calls come in on my phone because I have a great little app that Chief Deaton's let me have that I get all the fire calls as well. I'll see a call come in, and then within 60 seconds, I'll hear engines pulling out of Station 1 because Station 1's right by Town Hall where my office is. And I'm like, yep, they made it. They made that time frame.
Yep.
I bet you find it interesting, born and raised growing up here and going from Fire Station 1 to now having 6 fire stations, which really goes to how we're able to get such a great response time.
Oh, yeah. You know, back in especially the early to mid and late 80s, I had a cousin that was he retired in, I think it was 2008 as a fire captain that started in 1978.
Oof.
Captain Mitchell Bryant. Give a shout out to him if he's out there. So growing up and coming to visit the fire station is definitely unique compared to what it is now. It is definitely a huge difference.
And, you know, I could talk to that a little bit myself because I had an uncle who was a volunteer firefighter, and I was one of those kids that gets to ride on the fire truck and all the parades and all that growing up. And, you know, I don't remember a whole lot about being on the truck, but when I see our new trucks coming in, like Rescue 1, which we just had the wet down push-in service a couple weeks ago, and Ladder 6, and see all the technology involved in them.
Oh yeah, it's changed
I'm like,
dramatically.
what is this?
So I'll give you a fun statistic that people may not know. In 2002, when I got hired, we ran from January 1 to the end of December of 2002. Mooresville Fire ran only 450 calls a year.
No way.
And
I feel like you get 450 calls every week.
No, we at least hit 450 calls or more a month.
I don't doubt it.
Now
I see those calls pinging in.
Yeah, I think last year's numbers we were a few hundred off from hitting 10,000 calls in 1 year.
That's crazy. And all kind of calls, too. It's not just house fires all the time. You're responding to traffic accidents.
Water-related incidents, boat accidents, drownings. We go to all kinds of stuff now.
You're normally the first on the scene.
Yep.
Aren't you?
Yep. Sure are.
Well, other than responding to calls, tell us a little bit more about what the fire marshal's office does in reference to like fire investigations or even inspections.
So our office currently is responsible for conducting inspections, and those inspections are generally based on the different occupancy types. We got some occupancies that we have to inspect every year, such as apartments and restaurants, larger restaurants. And then we got some industrial manufacturing that we have to inspect every 2 years. And then our general businesses, such as strip malls and stuff like that, the smaller stores, we're responsible for inspecting those once every 3 years. Obviously, with COVID and everything, that it hit us pretty hard, and it actually set us back a couple years on some of these inspections because we just could not risk sending our employees out and putting them in such an environment that may get them exposed. So, but we're currently working towards getting all that caught up. But we also conduct ABC inspections for your alcohol license. We do foster home inspections. And we also do courtesy home inspections, home safety inspections.
Oh, wow.
Every once in a while, we'll get somebody say, hey, do you mind coming out and checking our home and seeing if anything looks to be hazardous to you, and maybe give us some pointers or some tips. And so we do that from time to time. But we also conduct fire investigations. And fire investigations, that can be, any type of structure fires, whether it's residential, commercial. We investigate vehicle fires, such as boat fires, all the way down to an ATV fire. If it's a motorized vehicle, if it's a fire, our job is to verify that it wasn't intentionally set. And a lot of that is, Department of Insurance driven, especially if somebody has insurance on a piece of property. Our job is to make sure, nobody's trying to commit insurance fraud, for one, and that if it was intentionally set, our job is to find who's responsible so we can prevent it from happening, because arson in the United States in general is responsible for billions of dollars of tax loss and revenue loss in communities all over the country.
That's amazing.
And that drives your insurance premiums. So if you ever wonder why your car insurance and house insurance premiums keep going up, it's because of the volume of claims that are coming in. And fire is one of the causes of those increases.
But tell us about the number one thing people can do to make their home safer.
So, I like to try to tell people, especially when I'm out doing foster home inspections, and because it really gives us an opportunity to have some one-on-one time with the family. The biggest thing is, understanding the type of devices that you're using in your home and how you use them. The number one thing that we find is, and I've seen to be the number one cause of most fires, is overloaded surge protectors, using small extension cords that are not rated to handle the type of equipment that they're utilizing, or simply they're just wore out. not being taken care of properly. So that's probably the number one thing that we see the most of. The other thing is not maintaining your equipment in your house, such as your dishwashers and refrigerators, making sure that everything's cleaned properly and serviced properly. Probably the second leading cause is dryers.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah,
hates
definitely.
dryers. Oh, my goodness. And the lint buildup in the vents, dryer vents, needs to be cleaned out. The dryer itself needs to be cleaned out. So definitely,
Oh, Charles Suber, do you hear that?
yeah.
Clean those lint filters.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to do it, there is companies available that provides that service that'll come out, clean your dryers and your dryer vents. And probably the third, which is the most common during the colder months, is chimneys.
Really?
Getting your chimney inspected and cleaned once a year because, and if you're not burning the correct type of wood, it could cause some major issues.
So you can't just go out in your backyard
No,
and
don't throw pine in a fireplace. Please don't do that because the sap builds up in the chimney, and over time, it'll overheat and catch fire, and we get a lot of chimney fires from time to time. And it breaks down the mortar too, and it can eventually escape out of the chimney and into your attic space, and you don't want that.
That's fascinating. And you'll have to go to a scene and assess, well, why did this fire start? It
Yep.
started in the chimney.
That's right.
I can't even imagine how you walk into a situation like that where everything is just charred to pieces and determine exactly where it started and what happened.
It's a lot of training. To kind of put it in perspective, it takes just to get your North Carolina Certified Fire Investigator certification, it takes 5 years.
Wow.
You've got to have so many educational classes and points and submit your application. And if you don't meet that minimum number of points and educational requirements within that 5-year period, they won't allow you to test. And there's other certifications out there that individuals can obtain to get it, but the average is pretty close to 5 years, and it's pretty extensive classes from fire dynamics to fire patterns to it could be very intense at times.
I bet so. And so walking into these settings, it's like putting together a puzzle.
It is. I like to tell people, especially if they like watching CSI, that's one of the best part of our jobs as fire marshals. This is what we would rather be out investigating fires, and I know it's bad to say on air, but we'd rather be out investigating fires because it's so much fun. It's challenging for us, and it's sparks an interest more so than just inspection.
Absolutely. And not the aspect that led up to the fire or any damage associated with it, but just that figuring out of what happened, how did this happen, and solving the puzzle.
That's right.
How has technology played a role in that?
Well, just in the last 5 years, I believe, there's been some significant technology change as far as when it comes to fire scene examination equipment. They got a 360 camera now that can scan a room and tell you the exact measurements, ceiling heights, room dimensions, and it gives you so many different views. You can examine that room or that fire area and just be able to pinpoint things that you wouldn't normally be able to see.
That's amazing.
Yep.
And I know you guys at Mooresville Fire Rescue have a lot of different technology that you utilize, whether it's in a fire investigation or whether it's in the firefighting process or in a rescue endeavor. So when we get back, I want to talk to you a little bit more about that because there is a lot of cool stuff that you guys do that our community doesn't know about. Very exciting.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, any of our listeners, if you want to call in, if you got questions for Fire Marshal Woody, 844-STUDIO-4 is the number to call in, and happy to take your questions.
Take your favorite WSIC shows with you anytime by going to WSIC News wherever you get your podcasts.
WSIC Community Calendar.
Ever wonder what Mooresville was like in 1873? The historic Downtown Walking Tour is a self-guided tour that will take you on a stroll through Mooresville's past to learn about the history of the town. Featuring 18 stops, the tour begins and ends at the corner of Main Street and Center Avenue. It should take 1 hour to complete. For more info, visit downtownmooresville.com. Are you a movie lover? Statesville's Parks and Rec Department will be having their Movies in the Park series on Friday, July 28th. They will be playing Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Seating opens at 8 o'clock and the movie will begin at 8:45. Refreshments will be available. Everything is $1. Bring your blanket and lawn chairs and enjoy a movie in the park. For more info, visit statesvillenc.com. Do you enjoy making pottery? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius has Ceramics Open Studio. Select Tuesdays and Saturdays, you can become the clay artist you were always meant to be. You must register in person. For the full schedule, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Grab your safety goggles for some mad science involving deadly cobras, irate Irishmen, and the occasional airship. Davidson community players will be presenting the Explorers Club on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays through July. For more information on show times and to buy your tickets, visit davidsоncommunityplayers.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on Events to submit your event today. Your WSIC Community Calendar.
I'm Holly Vale with your WSIC forecast. We'll have sunny skies today with a high near 91 degrees. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 68. Wednesday looks sunny again with a high near 93. And mostly clear for Wednesday night with a low around 72. We'll have sunny skies for Thursday with a high near 94. And Thursday night looks mostly clear with a low around 72. I'm Holly Vale from WSIC's Weather Center.
From Concord to Mooresville to Statesville, join me, Todd Starnes, live right here on News Talk WSIC.
Going above and beyond to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world around you. WSIC News Talk Now. Whatever the story,
we have to end our dependence on China.
Have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Well, we're so glad that you're joining us for the Hometown Hour with Megan and Miles. And man, we are learning so much about the Mooresville Fire and Rescue with our Fire Marshal Woody. It's great to have you on the show, and we're getting into the technology and all the gadgets and all the great, cool things that are going on with the Mooresville Fire and Rescue.
Oh, yes. I mean, sitting in this studio and seeing all the technology here, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But it is just a portion of cool of all the stuff that the fire department does and has. So let's talk a little bit about technology that Mooresville Fire and Rescue uses. Fire Marshal Woody, how many drones do we have?
Oh my goodness. I don't know the exact number. I do know, and I believe,
I think it's over 40 is the last thing I heard.
yeah, it's a crazy number.
So does the fire marshal's office use those, or what are they used for? Why do you have drones?
So we actually, the operation side has drones that are utilized in a lot of time for land searches and assisting police department with tracking suspects or overseeing an area. But we also have drone pilots that are certified in the fire marshal's office.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of times if we have a large, massive fire, we could a lot of times tell where the fire originated from by getting some aerial shots. And years ago, up until a few years ago, we would have to take those pictures by ladder truck. That's the
Oh,
only way
wow.
we can get them. And now with the drones and the technology, we can see everything and see the footprint of the property, the building, and
All
it
different
is
angles.
amazing information that's out there. We also utilize them on inspections. A lot of times, we used it not too long ago on a project that the area was so muddy we couldn't access it.
Hmm.
So we flew the drone to look at some underground fire line for inspection that was going to a sprinkler system. And
That's
it's
crazy.
and it's crystal clear pictures. It's amazing.
Awesome. I remember the first time I saw a drone at the scene of a fire. It was in Statesville several years back, a big church fire, and happened to be at the scene like 12 plus hours later. Everything was already out, and I saw him flying a drone. I'm like, what are they doing?
Here we go.
Here we go.
Well, welcome to the Hometown Hour. We got a caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You're on the
Hey, can you
air.
hear me?
Hometown Hour with Megan and Miles, and we have Fire Marshal Woody here. You have a question for him?
Mr. Woody. I've known Woody for years. I've known Woody for a long, long time. We go way back. My name is Ronnie.
Hey, Ron.
I ran into him over at the Liberty Park opening, and he was telling me about the Woody dolls, and I was just wondering if they had come in yet. And I want to make sure you save me one, young man.
Well, hello, and how are you,
Hey, I
Mister?
do want everybody to know. Yes, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
I'm glad to hear from you, Captain Lytle.
Thank you, sir. Hey, but seriously, guys, I'm very, very proud of this young man right here. You just don't know where he's come from. He was quite a character when he came to the fire department, and
We've
someone
heard
mentioned
some
touring
whispers
earlier.
of stories.
Well, I won't go into it because I would like for him to keep his job.
well, I would appreciate that too.
He is quite a young man right there, and I'm very, very proud of him, and I know his dad would be as well.
Hey,
But,
and
don't forget me on the dolls there, buddy.
yeah, and Woody Dolls will be in. We should be expecting them anytime, and as soon as we get those in, I will make sure you get one personally from me. How about that?
I appreciate that.
Well, thanks so much for
man,
calling.
I want it signed too.
I will definitely sign it. I will autograph it.
I'll let you go, guys. I'll let you go.
All right, buddy.
All
right.
Hey, man, I've been texting y'all morning, but you wouldn't admit to hearing from me, so I had to call. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
You're our first caller. We appreciate you calling in.
Thank you.
Hey, Woody, on another note, would you mind just sharing with our listeners not only all the great work that Mooresville Fire and Rescue does within our community, but, Mooresville Fire and Rescue is known for going outside the community and the work that they've done in other parts of the state when there's been emergencies. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, we are a very, I want to say, privileged department and proud department to be a part of. To see us come from so far from 20 years ago to where we are today, the level of service that our organization and the town has allowed us to be able to provide as a service to not only our community and our citizens, but in other communities and towns and cities throughout the state. We got rescue teams, urban search and rescue teams. We got swift water rescue teams. Anytime that there is a natural disaster or a local disaster in a community, no matter where it is, our department is willing to assist them in any way, and we would treat them no different than anybody from our community. The amount of resources that we have available to us due to the funding that the town board has granted us has been a tremendous asset to us and everybody in the state, not just our community.
And it's not just rescue too. I know I've heard Chief talk about hazmat and
Yeah,
our hazmat teams.
Yeah, and I apologize for leaving them out. Hazmat is probably one
You'll
of the
hear about it
most
later, I'm sure.
yeah, the most utilized because traffic accidents involving hazardous chemicals. We do have a large amount of industrial, not only here in Mooresville, but also in Statesville and other areas as well that have to respond and provide assistance to them.
And I remember in one of our Fire Citizens Academy, I think it was the hazmat team was talking about, well, what's a situation that hazmat would respond to? What if it was a milk spill? Would they respond to that? And everyone's like, no, they wouldn't respond to that. Well, they would.
Yeah, they would, because milk is considered a hazardous chemical.
It is. Tell us more about why.
So milk in the raw form is not processed, and it can be considered a corrosive. So once it's pasteurized and everything else, that's what makes it safe to drink. But it can cause environmental issues and stuff like that if it gets into the water system, contaminants, bacteria and stuff like that, and we definitely don't want that. So hazmat at times over the years have had to address milk spills.
Oh, but no crying over it though.
But no crying over spilt milk. That's right.
Well, you talked about a bunch of the different teams and the crews and the departments within the fire department. As a new firefighter coming in, would an individual have a chance to be a part of those teams, or are they just going to be
Absolutely. Everybody that gets hired even today will eventually have the opportunity to go in whatever direction they choose, and it's really up to them. And sometimes it's not up to them. It really depends on where they're stationed and their capabilities and stuff, and staffing issues. But there is a wide variety of things an individual could do. I chose to go to fire marshal route. Other people chose to go to rescue route and specialize just in rescue. And then you got some guys that want to just specialize in hazmat. It's all in what you want to do. And we got some guys that don't care nothing about any of that stuff. They just want to be a fireman.
And you're going to make them the
That's
best
right.
firefighter possible.
And we are. And our training division does an outstanding job preparing these new recruits to get them to where they need to be. And then once they come out of recruit school, then the real on-job training begins.
Absolutely. And I know you referenced guys, but they've got quite a few ladies.
We
on
do,
the,
and
on
I am proud to say, over the years, it's been extremely difficult to attract female applicants, and over the course of the last probably 3 to 4 years, that number has increased dramatically, and we currently got, I think, 3 currently on the truck, and we got a 4th one that's currently in recruit training.
That's fabulous.
So that's exciting news, and make it a little bit more diverse, because we get so many kids when we're doing educational programs that ask, I want to be a fireman. How can I be a fireman? Little girls do. And having them there to share their experience and to show them that, hey, you can be.
This is possible.
It's possible. You can be anything you want if you put your mind to it, and it's a great opportunity. And I'm glad we have them a part of Mooresville Fire and Rescue.
So any of you guys or gals out there interested in becoming a part of the ISO 1 rated Mooresville Fire Rescue, you can find opportunities at mooresvillenc.gov/HR.
Now, if our listeners want to know more about the fire department, fire and rescue, and learn more about that, we do have an opportunity, right? It's called the Fire Academy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The Fire Academy is run every spring by the fire department. Now, any of you who may know anything about the town, this is not to be confused with the Town Citizens Academy or the Police Department Citizens Academy. We got 3 different opportunities for residents to come and learn. And you can find more information about the upcoming academy. Again, it'll start again for the fire department in the spring. Police department is also running the spring on mooresvillenc.gov.
Fantastic. Well, we usually have a full house of cohorts that participate.
We do. And anyone who's interested in the Town Citizens Academy, that application will go live on August 1st. You do have to be a resident of the town of Mooresville. But check mooresvillenc.gov for that, and you can learn more about Mooresville Fire and Rescue and all of our departments that we have with the town.
Well, we're so glad everybody joined us for the Hometown Hour.
Yes.
Fire Marshal Woody, it's been great having you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.